There we go. Technical difficulties. Welcome back. How we doing? How we doing? Good morning. Man, Nvidia. Holy shit, huh? Wow. What a move. Why you in Nvidia but not me? My God. What a move. What a rip. I mean, it's almost like it's just gonna go to 1,000, sort of. It sort of feels like, right? Man. Yeah, Marvin. I don't know if you can see that. Looking good, Marvin. I got a few things I want to add, Marvin, so I'll get with you. But yeah, Option Insider merch coming out hot. Coming out hot. Welcome back, everyone. How we doing? What a morning it feels like. Nvidia rallying. A lot of strong stuff on a lot of other strong things going on. So it's definitely an interesting morning here, guys. So we shall see. We shall see. Welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you enjoyed it. Relaxed. Rest. Relaxation. Got your mind back right. Ready for a new week. Should be fun. So we'll wait a few minutes for some more people to jump in. Yeah, I need a why you in Nvidia but not me t-shirt. Yeah, I don't have any options on Nvidia, but hey, at least we got the shares, man. At least we got the shares. It's always good to have some Nvidia shares, right? It's always a beautiful morning if you got some Nvidia shares. So congratulations to those who do have it, who have focused on the long term, focused on the long-term growth. That's been paying off, man. So congratulations. Do I ever trade futures? Yeah, once in a while. Futures are a 100% focus for me all day, every day, whether I trade it or not. It is, on my eyes at all times. So, whether I'm trading futures, whether I'm just monitoring futures, futures are key, right? They're very key. All the futures levels. And, if you guys were here, if you were here on Friday, there was one thing that we talked about. There was one thing that we talked about after that downside. What did we talk about? You guys should know. If you guys are paying attention, you should know the level on the futures, on the Nasdaq futures, on the ES futures that we talked about after that downside that came in the pre-market, after the economic data that caused the downside move. There was one very focused level in particular on the Nasdaq and ES that we said if we hold, it could be a very strong long opportunity. This is exactly what I did Friday. And hopefully some of you caught this as well. It was the Wednesday FOMC highs. The Wednesday FOMC highs on the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 futures, the 17,480. The S&P level, the 49.25, was the perfect pullback long on Friday. So I'll break it down again. If you go back to my live stream on Friday, you will hear us talk about that. And you can see how we sort of analyzed that in the pre-market on Friday and how that turned into a killer opportunity on the long side. So let's jump into it. Thank you guys again for being here. I hope you guys are learning something, man. That's the most important. Press that like button for me if you could. If you guys are here early, if you could press that like button, subscribe to the channel. That would be fantastic. Come here every single morning starting at 8 a.m. Let's start with the economic calendar. the earnings calendar, and then we will jump into the levels. So this week, today, not really too much. Services PMI 9:45, ISM Services PMI 10 o'clock. You got 9:45, 10 o'clock, some PMI numbers that will drop. We'll see if there's any big opportunities there. I think the most important events of the week, guys, the two most important events of the week, in my opinion, are right here. It's this, and it's this. It's the 10-year bond and the 30-year bond on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. The reason I say this is because you just had FOMC, and there's going to be a lot of focus on those yields. A lot of focus on the 10-year, a lot of focus on the 30-year. The 10-year in particular going to be very important, right? That T and X. So I think these are going to probably cause some volatility on Wednesday around 1 o'clock, and on Thursday around 1 o'clock. You have two very, very large bond auctions. These are the two biggest ones, the 10-year, the 30-year. Very major things to watch coming in here this week, all right? So I really don't expect, much of this to affect the market, right? Any of this, I don't really expect that. Bostic speaking, loan officer survey, I don't expect any of this to be important. Trade balance, crude oil inventories, obviously we'll watch it. But these two right here are my big two this week. The 10-year, the 30-year bond auction, I think going to be very, very important. So that is on Wednesday, 1 o'clock. That is on Thursday, 1 o'clock. So just be aware of that, guys. If you come here to the live stream, I'll remind you on a daily basis. So you'll definitely be aware of it. But just sort of forward looking here, those are going to be the big two. All right. Okay. If we go to the earnings calendar, I think you have, I don't think you have two. I mean, it's definitely still another big week of earnings, but definitely don't have the major ones like we had last week. But sorry. Probably heard a little bit of a noise there. Pressed the wrong button. So today you had Cat, you had McDonald's. I think both looking pretty good in the pre-market. After hours today, Palantir. I know some people are obsessed with watching Palantir. NXPI. This one's pretty important as well. I think for, if I'm not mistaken, semiconductors, right? Yeah, semiconductors. So definitely something to sort of eye for the semis. This NXPI one right here, after hours today. So keep an eye on that. After or pre-market tomorrow, Eli Lilly. You guys know Eli Lilly has been on a monster upside move. So this should be interesting to watch. After that, Snapchat. After close tomorrow, Enphase, Ford, Chipotle, Elf. Yeah, the fire alarm went off. Alibaba Wednesday. Uber, Roblox, PayPal, Walt Disney on Thursday or Wednesday after close. Thursday, you got your Affirm, your Pinterest, your Cloudflare, and that's about it. Pepsi on Friday. So, yeah, that was just a test. Wake up. If you're half asleep, wake up. It's time to go. All right, so there's your economic and your earnings. This should be something to watch for semiconductors today, NXPI. Yeah, that's about it. All right, let's jump into the technical levels, guys, because there's a lot to go over here and some very, very beautiful holds that came in on Friday. So here's Friday's move, right? Friday pre-market, what did we get? We got that big downside move, right? We got not big, but a decent downside move in the pre-market on Friday, right here. You got that straight down move Friday. Now, on Friday, we were talking about, right? We can move this over. This is what Friday looked like. Right, this is what Friday looked like. We had that pre-market drop off the economic data. And we were talking about watch for the FOMC highs, right? That is right here. FOMC highs and these previous lows around that 17,480 level. That was right here, right? FOMC high where we rejected and came back to this demand around that 250. Then we had these lows, right? These were from the previous week, Thursday and Friday of the previous week. And then we had all this consolidation from that Monday, Tuesday, back on the 22nd, 23rd of January. What did we do on Friday? We came right into that level, right? We came right into that demand. We held it perfectly, and pretty much the rest is history. This was a beautiful hold on Friday pre-market or Friday market open. If we go to the 5-minute chart, right, look at that first 5-minute candle of the day. Just a huge wick right off that demand low. And from there, it was pretty much a level-to-level trade the entire day. Right? Look at what happened after that. So we go to the 5-minute chart. We held that low, which was right here, that 17,480. This was our next level. This was our 560 level, right? And then we had that pre-market high at 640. Now, if we go down to the 5-minute and we look at this level-to-level trading that happened on Friday, look at how clean this was. You have your demand hold. You get up above this level. You turn it into support. Next level, you have this supply high. You get above it. You turn it into support. And pretty much all day, you just did the dance, right, from level to level, break and retest, level to level, all Friday. It was very pretty, right, and it was very clean. If we go down to the 2-minute chart, we might even be able to see it a little bit better. Here's Friday, 2-minute chart. Let's zoom into these levels that we had, and you can just see how well demand, right? Look at this. You have hold, push up, maintain, causing the next move, push up, maintain, right? Causing the next push higher. And that's structure right there, man. That was clean stuff on Friday. So, what a beautiful day there. And now, there's one thing that we're watching today that's more important than anything. And that is, in my opinion, the hold over 17,640 today. Right here. So, 17,640. This was your rejections all Thursday after hours and Friday pre-market, right? We had all these rejections right here on Thursday, Friday, right? Right into that 17,640. This was a previous high here. This was a breakdown point here. And this was that pre-market rejection point on Friday. What are we looking for today? As long as the Nasdaq is above this level, right, you are looking for upside on the market. As long as the Nasdaq is maintaining above this Thursday, Friday high, not the actual high of Friday, but that sort of morning high from Friday, as long as we are holding above that 17,640, this is a setup for another long opportunity, okay? So I would not short this market if we are above this 17,640 today on the Nasdaq futures. That is a very big level. We can very clearly see it, right? We've gotten above it. We've come back down to it slightly. We've definitely maintaining it for now. But even if we get a little bit further towards that 640, I still believe that this is a possible long opportunity, right, on a hold above these highs. So, big level today. 17,640. I would absolutely be watching this. If you get a pullback to this level today, I would look for that long opportunity. If you get under that level, the next one I would be watching is, of course, that 560, right here. And, of course, if you get under that, you're watching that low from Friday back at that 470 level, that 470, 480. So, for me, right, if I make sure I understand the longer-term analysis, right, you got to have that longer-term thought in your trading at times. On the longer-term analysis, we are still very much in an upside move, a very strong upside support on the market. This hold here, very key. The holds on Friday at 17,480, very key, right? You have the hold here at that 560. Now you're holding above that 640. So you are still just stair-stepping to the upside here on the market. I would personally not short anything, in my opinion, if you were above that Friday high or that Friday low, right? I would not want to short anything if the Nasdaq is above this level. The reason for that, the reason why I think like that is because I believe any pullback from here into these levels are pullback long opportunities, which they have continued to show up on this market, right? That's where you want your mind at. I would not want to be tunnel visioned looking for downside here and miss the opportunity to long again off key demand levels. So for me, as long as the Nasdaq is above this shelf, this little 480 shelf that held on Friday, which was the FOMC highs, which was these previous lows, this previous demand low, right? As long as we're above here, I'm looking for pullback long opportunities, okay, on all levels. If we get under this level, this is where, right, if we get under this Friday low, this is where things can flip, right? And we might be able to catch a short back under then to that 250. But until then, I'm looking for pullback longs at my levels. That's my mindset. It will continue to be that way as long as the market continues to be in this larger term bullish structure. Levels above to be careful of today, pretty much this entire zone. 750 to 800, going to be pretty weak, right? Be careful in there. Might see some rejection step up in this zone, so be aware of that area between 750 and 800. I would not want to be entering longs at this supply area, right? I'm not entering longs in here. I'm entering longs on pullbacks. So pullback here, possible long, pullback here, possible long, pullback here, possible long. I'm not entering longs into supply, right? I'm looking for pullbacks as opportunities rather than trying to chase into this area above. So today, does the Nasdaq, is it able to get above some of these highs? This 750, this 800, those are two big levels above. You got to be careful there. What do you want to look for? You want the pullbacks, right, to present that next opportunity. You don't want to be entering new longs up into this supply. What else would I look for to be really strong? If the Nasdaq just does this, right? If the Nasdaq just sort of goes higher today through 800, then obviously, we're looking for holds above some of these highs, right? Holds above that 800, holds above that 750. If we see that, then we can even just set up those longs above those highs. So 17.8, 17.750, two levels to watch this morning. This whole 50-point range, I think, is going to be pretty difficult to get through, so we got to be careful there. Pullbacks to the Thursday, Friday highs right here. If you get under that, pull back to this the 17.560. Under that, pull back to that Friday low. That's what I'm watching today. All right, let's continue. QQQ. We talked about that 422, 421 area on the QQQ, and you saw on Friday, right? We dropped right into it. Beautiful drop, right into that major demand, and look at how well that held. Previous lows, previous low, previous highs, and look at that drop and perfect hold on Friday. Beautiful strength there, beautiful level right there. That looks to be sort of that brick wall, that brick floor, that floor that's maintaining this market higher is right here around this 421. So I would say if you want to be trading with the longer term trend here, as long as the QQQ is over that 421, 422, I would not be trying to short this market. I would continue to look for opportunities to the upside off of pullbacks. The big supply above is this 429, 430, right? So this is obviously where we need to be careful of entering new longs up into this supply around 429, 430. Now, of course, if we just get a break and a hold over 430 today, then we're absolutely looking for further upside, all right? If we just get a break over this double top high at 430, we hold above it, then we're looking for that new opportunity to the upside. In the shorter term, what's the levels that I want to see hold today for pullback longs? Well, number one is right here, 427, very clear level, previous high, previous high, previous high, previous high. We're above it. What do we look for? We look for the pullbacks. We look to see if this holds. 427, that's my first area to watch. Under that, you have that 425.50, which you can see was these holds from the pre-market. It re-held on Friday, and it had a very nice result of holding that level to the upside. So my next level would be down towards this 425.50 and another hold in this area here. Okay? So 427, 425.50, those are my two QQQ levels below. And then that 422, 421 area down there, that's the big boy. That's something we definitely want to be watching, right? So keep an eye on those levels. QQQ, obviously, we don't want to be getting too aggressive long into 429, 430. If we can get above and hold above today, then you look for that new long opportunity above that. All right? Very clear levels there on the QQQ. S&P, what a beauty. What a beauty. The live stream title on Friday was what? What was the live stream title on Friday? ES 5000? Just about that. 49.97, 5,000 on the S&P 500 futures. What was the key hold? Let's just delete this real quick. What was the key hold that we had on Friday? We were talking about these highs. We were talking about that FOMC high. We were talking about how this was a straight-up move, too quick, right? Too quick, and we needed a pullback back into the breakout points. That was around 49.30, 49.26. That was previous highs, and the FOMC high. This was a perfect example, guys, of how if the market extends itself too quick, it has to come back down to the breakout point, which it did in the pre-market for us, and that was the perfect long opportunity on Friday. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Right off that 49.26, that 49.30 level we talked about, what a beautiful opportunity that was. So we got to the upside. We pushed to the upside. What are we watching now? For me, it's all in this 49.50, right? That's number one. That's my first pullback area to watch, this 49.50, right? That's all of this. That's all those lows from the pre-market, 49.50. If we get a pullback there, that is definitely something that I'm watching today. So number one, 49.50 and 49.26, 49.30. Those are two levels that I'm watching very closely today. If we drop this down to the 15, we can get a little bit more detail here into what's going on this morning. And I think it's this 49.63 area that could be a very short-term level, but something to be watching. So we can see right here. We have the 49.50, and we have that low from Friday at the 49.30. Now we have this previous high here on the ES from Thursday and Friday. So we want to watch to see what happens there as well. We can see in the morning we've already showed some holds there at that level. So right here, you have a hold, you have a hold. You've already showed some holds at that 49.63 area on the ES this morning. All right? So 49.63, 49.60, you got the 49.50, and you got the 49.30. Those are the three levels I'm watching on the pullback side, looking to see what happens at those levels. And, of course, the 5,000 is going to be very tough on the ES. All right? That's obviously going to be tough up there, that 5,000. SPY, same look, same analysis. Look at the uptrend, right? This is something you got to remember, guys. This is the 4-hour chart. I mean, look at this thing. You're not shorting into this 4-hour just straight uptrend. Got to stop trying to go against the market here a little bit. These pullback long opportunities have continued and continue to show fantastic trades. Number one, right? What happened on Friday? We had the previous high. We had the previous high. We had the FOMC high at 489. Look at how beautiful that 489 hold was on Friday morning. We had the drop. We got the horned up bear syndrome, right? Everyone, people trying to short after that news pre-market, horned up bears, shorting right into major demand. And you can see what happens when that, when you get on the wrong side of that. Beautiful hold above that 489 right there. Boom, boom. Awesome. So 489, all right? That's our level. That's our level. So 49, watch that level. Keep an eye to see if we stay above that. As long as we're above that 49, I would say the market tries to stay strong. If we go down to the 15-minute, let me zoom in. Down to the 15-minute, right? We have these highs here. What is that? That's 491.50. That's right in here, right? We can see 491.50, 491.50, which turned into support here. And if we get a pullback to that level, I like that as probably my most interesting long opportunity, right? Honestly, this is a key level too. But I think the most interesting long level today is probably in here. This 491, 491.50. If we get a pullback, this is absolutely where I'm watching for that opportunity. Okay? 491, 491.50, previous highs, previous lows. If we get that pullback, could be an interesting watch today. Under that 491, 491.50, you have, of course, that low from Friday, 49. And then in the extreme short term, you do have this 492.50 area that's sort of holding this pre-market. This is something we can watch, but it's a little bit short term. So I wouldn't trust this one as much as I'd trust, let's say, this pullback level or this pullback level. But there is a previous double top high here that you are holding above in the morning. You can see right here, you've been trying to hold above it. So I'd say, right, this 492.60, 492.50, that's definitely sort of an interesting level there. That equals the 49.63, right? The 49.63 on the ES. The 491 level, right? The 491 level, 491.50 level that we talked about, the strong, the one that I'm a little bit more interested in, that equals 49.50 on the ES, right in here. 49.50, anywhere between 49.50, 49.55, right? You could sort of extend this to these highs if you so please, right? Right in there, that 49.56, 49.55, all the way down into 49.50 would be a very interesting area for me to watch for opportunities back to the upside, okay? All right, so that's that. IWM staying weak, which is a little bit interesting, right? The IWM had its glory, had that little push off that 188, but ever since then, really has not found its strength again. So a little bit careful, with that small cap weakness. Be aware of that. You're coming back into that 192. This was a pretty healthy rejection at that 200 on the small caps. So not in love with the small cap upside potential after seeing some of this relative weakness versus the other versus the ES versus the Nasdaq. I would say just watch this 192 area. This is a big level for the small caps. This is also the 50 SMA, right? So 192, big watch there on the IWM, also the 50 SMA. All right? All right, so I don't know how many people we have because YouTube has stopped showing me that. So if you guys could, just take a second. Take a sip of your water. Take a sip of your coffee. And then after you do that, press the like button. Go ahead and press that like button for me. Press the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We just went over the futures. We went over the ES, NQ, SPY, QQQ, IWM. We can go over the Mike Jones real quick for you. I know some of you guys are interested in the Dow Jones. So what did we get on Thursday? Pretty much a perfect break and retest hold, man. 38,260. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. So I'd say as long as the Dow's over that level, you're holding strong. All right, let's get into some stocks. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Here we go. So Tesla. So I took a little bit of a longer dated call on Tesla on Friday, but I'm not loving it still, right? I'm still a little bit weary on it. I still think I could be too early on it. But I am looking to see if I can get into a long position towards this 180, 184 area. I took a March contract, so I have a lot of time on it, but I'm not loving it still, right? I'm still not going too heavy into it. I'm still a little bit concerned that this thing is still just dead, which it sort of looks like it is, right? We can see we have this downtrend. We have this downtrend on Tesla. We have this little wedge that's forming. We do have a very clear willingness to hold in this 184, 180 area, but I just don't know whether Tesla is going to have that strength to really get out of this downtrend. So this is something I would be watching because this could present a big opportunity in the future here. But as of right now, it's still very weak, right? We can still see that relative weakness here on Tesla still. I would say this week, if we start to get these drops into this level, into these levels here, watch to see what Tesla does. All right, keep an eye on Tesla this week as it gets into this 184 to 180 level. This seems to be sort of that general demand below in this 180 to 184 area. Every time we drop into this area, you sort of get that bounce back out of it. So if we go to the 5-minute chart, we can see, right, Tesla is really doing nothing. But when it gets down into this green area, it has reactions back to the upside. right? It has these big, quick squeezes back to the upside out of this area. So right here, right here, right here, we continue to see this general area cause reactions back to the upside, obviously showing that there's a lot of willingness to buy down here. But, right, until Tesla actually gets going, this is going to continue to test this low, right? We're going to continue to test this low until Tesla actually breaks out of this downtrend. So it's a waiting game here. In my opinion, this is a very, very big waiting game, but I think it is worth the wait. I think it is worth watching because there will be, at some point, some kind of a big move here on Tesla, whether it's a huge drop under 180, right, which you can't see on your screen, whether this is a really aggressive flush under 180, right, really aggressive to the downside, which could be very much a good watch, right, on a hold under 180, or this is a squeeze, right, that gets these shorts that are sort of piled in here, starting to get them squeezed out, and that's when Tesla will break that downtrend. But until then, it's a big waiting game here. It's a very interesting chart, I will say, right, a very interesting chart with this downtrend and then with this general demand below. Does it get this move, right, or is this going to eventually just break down 180 and start to flush again? Something I'm absolutely keeping an eye on all week, right? Because I know there will be opportunity here. Until then, right, just sort of sit in that. What I'm doing is I'm sitting in a long position, and I'm not going to touch it, right? So I'm just going to go for the long. I sort of like the long idea with the market being strong. I like the opportunity of maybe catching longs or being in a long position in this area, and over the next 2 to 3 months, or really, I just have a month and a half. Over the next month and a half, do I catch any type of a squeeze back to the upside? We'll see, right? We'll see. That's sort of my play right now. But if we break under that 180, then I know that it'll be invalidated, and we got to take our loss on that. So Tesla, waiting game, but keep an eye on this wedge that's forming. All right? Nvidia, oh man. Absolute insanity. What a move on Friday. What a move this morning. But what do we want to see after these big moves in the pre-market? We always require pullbacks, guys, right? I don't care how much you want to chase Nvidia. You have to require yourself to get a pullback, in my opinion, here. The first level that I would be watching is this little pre-market double top high at 680. We could see if there's a long off 680 today. This could be something to watch, right? That's number one. You have a break and a pullback to 680. This would be the first watch. So number one today, 680, okay? That's my first watch on Nvidia. If we get a pullback to 680, does that hold? Is this my first long opportunity? That's this double top high, right? That's this pullback level. That is the number one watch for me on Nvidia, 680. Now, if you break under 680, you could watch this little low here at 675. I think that could be number two, right? That could be number two for the pullback long. Number two. So if you get under 680, I would say you watch this little low here. This would be number two on the levels today, 675. So 680, 675. That's one, and that's two right there. If you get under both of those, okay, you are coming back down to this 666, which is absolutely crazy. And I don't know how that works, but I would just assume that a lot of people had sell orders at the exact 666 level, and that is 100% in my mind on purpose. There is no way that Nvidia had a high of day on Friday at exactly 666. People were absolutely just sort of setting limits at 666, and there was just a sell order, massive sell orders at that level, because that was the exact high on Friday, which is a little bit freaky. So now, right, if we get under that 680, if we get under that 675, this would be the real pullback level that I would look for. Give back the pre-market gap up, right? Because this morning, guys, there's going to be a gap on Nvidia, right? There's going to be a gap starting from here, right? There's going to be a gap from here to here. There will be a gap on your chart, on your daily chart. This will be, right, an empty gap. So if you really want to get a long, which I think, is the best long there is, it's off 666. It is the pullback, the gap fill, and then the nice opportunity to long this thing back up off that satanic number, off of 666. So I don't know if you're going to get the full gap fill. Nvidia is an absolute monster. The devil is within Nvidia, is what we could say, because this thing is insanity. Up about $20 per share this pre-market. 666, 675, and 680. Those are my pullback levels to watch today. And, all is good if you just hold some shares. If you just hold some shares, all is good. And you just wait for the pullbacks for options trading opportunities, right? If it doesn't pull back, you say, whatever, I got shares, I'm making money, right? But if we pull back to this 680, this 675, and this 666, these would be the areas that I'd watch for those opportunities, all right? AMD. Nice crawlback on AMD, man. What a beautiful crawlback, really. Sort of wish I had a little bit more confidence on those shares that I purchased. If you guys were here, I think on Wednesday morning of the live stream, you saw me sort of purchase those pre-market shares on AMD. Ended up with a nice profit on those. But, yeah, I sort of wish I was, a little bit more confident to just hold those. The reason I entered those, again, remember we talked about the 20 SMA on these stocks, guys. The 20 SMA, right? And look at how well that daily 20 held on AMD at 160, okay? Very nice 160 hold. Now, what was the level that we got above that we sort of continued this upside move? Right here, 170. We got above 170, and we continued higher. The next level was this 174. 174, we got above that level, and we continued higher. If we go to the 5-minute chart, 174 was actually a trade that we took on Friday. I have this trade recorded live, and I'm going to share it with you guys this week. But this 174 level was exactly where we longed AMD on Friday. If you guys are part of the chat, you know that. You know that, right? We nailed this thing off 174 on Friday. You got to push. You got to pull back all the way back to 174 intraday and held it again, right? And you can see how strong that 174 level held. So what is our watches today, right? Very clear. We have this very clear supply above. You can clearly see that. 181, right? There's no questions asked here. 181, triple top. That's going to be supply, okay? If we pull back today, I would love 174, right? That would be nice. If we can get that 174 pullback, get another entry near that 174, that would be fantastic. If we don't get that, then we got to break this down in a little bit of a shorter term look here. If we don't get that 174, it might be around this 178.50, right? I'm not really in love with this area, but it could be in this area, right? This 178.50, 179, these highs from Friday, right in here, that could be the area to watch right in here, right? These highs, this general high, this high here. If we hold above this 178.50, this could be that pullback that you need to get near that level. I'm not in love with that. Let me make that very clear. I'm not in love with that. It's just not as strong of a level as, let's say, 174 would be if we got that pullback. So if I'm going to look to long AMD off this level, off of Friday highs, or maybe off this 177 low, right, this little pre-market low, or this Friday high, 178.50, if I'm going to look to long off these levels, then it's going to be a smaller position, right? If I'm going to look to see if 178.50 holds, I'll look for that with maybe smaller position. If it breaks under that, I'll look for this pre-market low hold around this 177, but I'll take a little bit of a smaller position off that one. If we get back to 174, that's where I get a little bit more interesting, right? That's where I get a little bit more interested with some larger size. So for me, it's around this 178.50. It's that Friday high. It's this little pre-market low that showed up here around 177, right? And then under that, I think I would wait for 174 if we break under both those, okay? Or If you miss all of this and this thing just sort of rips today, I might even be more comfortable just longing over 181. Really, right? I might be more comfortable today just longing over 181, to be honest. If I just wait this out, see if AMD squeezes again, it might just be right to wait for AMD to break that 181, turn that into support, and then you can get probably a pretty easy upside move into 184. So that might be the better play. Just wait for us to break supply and turn it into a new support, 181. All right. Let's go to Apple. So Apple, very beautiful. Just an awesome trade from Friday. We longed the hell out of this thing down here around 182. A total rip on Friday. Beautiful trade. Here's sort of my mindset on Apple. Here's your weekly chart, right? Here's your weekly. And the reason, I'm going out to the weekly is because I think there is some, an interesting hold that's going on here on Apple on the weekly, right? We can see right here, we have some major weekly highs on Apple back around that 180 level, right? And then last week, we saw 180 hold very strong. So this 180 level is a major weekly level. There's no doubt about it. And if we go to the 4-hour, we can see that the 4-hour chart had some very, very strong holds at that 180. So I was interested in this, right? If Apple's going to continue to hold this 180 level, I know this is a weekly demand. I know that it has held 3 times over the last few weeks, right? And I know we just had earnings. Earnings held that level, which is good, right? Earnings was able to maintain above 180, and that demand stepped up once again. So I went long Apple, early morning Friday, and this was a sexy one, man. This was a sexy one. This was right here for the group. We went ahead and entered February 16th Apple 180 calls. This was around 10:14 on Friday. Very nice upside move there. Holding some still. I've realized about 50% of that position. Still holding some for possibly a little bit more upside. Now, the problem for Apple here, for more upside, looks to be this 187.50. This looks to be a little bit tough. So you have this 187.50, 187.50, and you have some rejection stepping up around this 187.50 today. If we go to the 15-minute chart, right, we can see right here. Look at that 187.50 area. Looking a little bit tired in there. Okay, so Apple, in my opinion, needs to get over 187.50, needs to hold above this 20 SMA for more upside. I'd like to see Apple really regain this 20 SMA up here. You see this 20? I would keep an eye on that 20. If you are an Apple, I would want to see Apple get above that level. I would want to see Apple hold above that 20 SMA for you to feel confident that this is going to continue higher towards this 192. All right? So 187.50 and that 20 SMA are your major watches above here on Apple. You need to get it above that. If not, this could just sort of get stuck in this range. All right? So make sure you watch that. Meta. Beautiful hold on Friday at our exact level that we talked about here in the pre-market live stream. We talked about the hold of 454, 455. That was this previous high. That was that low from the pre-market. And look at how beautiful that long was on Friday. Absolutely perfect. Congratulations if you guys caught this one as well. This was sick. Right off 454, right off our level, straight from the pre-market live stream. All you got to do is come here, man. All you got to do is wake up and come and watch the levels that we talk about. So that was a beauty. 454, you got above that 563. You held above, or 463, you held above that. And then you got this 470 level today. So today, I'm watching 470. Okay? I'm watching 464, 463. And then, of course, I'm watching that 455 again. Those are my 3 levels to watch for pullbacks. I would look for this. If we break under that, I'd look for us to move into 463. If we break under that, I'd watch for us to move back into 454. But this 470 might be the right one to watch today. You have this little demand from Friday in the intraday, right? You can see right here, Friday intraday, we held 470 and pushed higher. And that is exactly where we're trying to hold, at least for now, in the pre-market, around this 470. So 470, big watch there today. If you do catch along off this level, I would be profit taking into the 480. There's some big levels up there at 480 to be careful of. All right. 480 definitely looks heavy. 470 right here, 463 and 455. Watching those levels on pullbacks today. Let's go to Google, because Google is sort of interesting because Google is back over a pretty important level, right? Google on Friday dropped, but quickly got bought back up. Now, Google got bought back up where? At the 100 SMA. That's pretty interesting, right? We got bought back up at that 100 SMA, and we reclaimed the 50 SMA. So, a pretty interesting reclaim, right, on Google, back above that 140 demand, back above that 100 SMA, back above that 50 SMA. But what Google needs is a breakout of this area, right? We need a breakout over this 145, 146 area. Google needs to get above this and above that 20. If we can get that on Google, above the 20, above that 146, I think you could see gap fill. So that's something I'm going to watch. If we go to the daily chart, we can see Google left a major gap to the downside, right? But before we can even get that gap fill type trade, we need to get over this 20 and we need to get over this 146. So right here, you guys can see that 146, you can see that 20. If you can get above this, if you can hold above this, you might be able to get gap fill. You're going to need it to wake up though, right? You're going to need a little bit of a change here. You need Google to really maintain this demand low, start to build some strength here, get that breakout over the 20, hold above the 20, and then maybe you can get that gap fill move. But that willingness to hold on Friday is very interesting, right? It got a big drop, trapped some bearish traders, right, back into the 100 and popped right back up. So that's interesting, right? You definitely saw some buying step up down at that 100. So something to watch there. Amazon pretty much sideways here until it breaks one of these channels. I would look for longs down around that 168. I'd be careful of longs up into that 174.50. You need to break this channel, so I really don't have much for you on Amazon besides wait for it to break this channel. SMCI. Oh, wow. Wow. I didn't even realize SMCI did this today. Look at that. So SMCI, previous highs, look at how well that held in the pre-market here. 565. Or that was actually, that was on Friday. Sorry. Friday, we had that drop in the 565. That previous high. What a perfect hold that is. So, if you get pullbacks to 565 on SMCI, guys, that might be a long opportunity right there. You might not even get that pullback, though. What I would watch now is probably like the 600, anywhere between 600, 606, right? And then look to see if you can do one of these. This and that, right? That could be your next sexy trade right there. A break over that previous high at 600. You just did it, right? What'd you just do? Break, retest the previous highs. You're holding. So what are you looking for now? Break, retest of the previous highs over that 600. That could be your next long opportunity over 600. So 565, 600. What a beautiful hold to 565 that is. Keep an eye on that. All right. What else? Coinbase, I'm not really in love with Coinbase anymore. Yeah, it's just sort of weak, but it is holding this demand, so you could watch that 126. All right, that 126 is holding nice on coin. We went over Apple, we went over Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, Google, Amazon. What else did I miss? Anything? We can go Microsoft, Boeing, Snow, Netflix. All right. We'll go quick Microsoft. I would just say for Microsoft, guys, today, be careful longing into 414. Okay? 414, very big level up there. Watch 414 Microsoft. Snow did exactly what we wanted it to do. Right? We were just a day late, $1 short. But we did end up, we ended up getting profitable on Snow on this push into 210. But we never quite got the full move. But what did Snow end up doing? right? This was sort of that break and retest long. It looked like it was a little bit too sloppy, right, to really get the clean breakout. But if we go to the hourly chart, right, we can see it really did just sort of maintain these demands on pullbacks. It was just a little bit sloppy there, but ultimately it did have that next move after the consolidation, which was very nice. What would I be watching today on Snow? I'd be watching this high here at 215.50. I'd be watching the previous highs at 210.50. Can we get the pullback longs there? Can we get the pullback longs there? Those are my two levels to watch. 210.50, that was that previous rejection point that we got above and squeezed. If we don't get back to that, you're watching this previous high here, which is around 215.50. All right, so previous highs there, previous highs here. All right, you're watching for pullback longs. Let's go Netflix. I just want to show you guys Netflix real quick because Netflix is a little bit concerning. It is holding our 560, but it just has not been able to get over 570. So a little bit concerning there on Netflix, right? You got to get over 570. You're holding this 560 still, but I would personally not long 560 anymore. And the reason I would not long 560 anymore is because there's just too much willingness to reject or too much inability to get over 570 for me to really feel confident there. So what I would wait for if you want to long Netflix is a hold over 570. I would simply just wait for it to break and hold over 570 very strong. Then you could look for the long. If it breaks 560, it probably has a little bit more downside towards that 548. But it is a big level here at 560 on Netflix, but I just would not want to be stuck in another rejection of 570 there. I would want to just wait for it to break over it, personally. Just a little bit more patience, and you can just wait for it. Boeing, weak again. Back into the shadow realms on Boeing. Just too much rejections up here, again, at the 200 SMA. I would not long Boeing if it's under 217 and the 200 SMA. Just too much weakness up there. Last one I'm going to go and show you guys is TSM, guys, because TSM's that sleeper, man. It's that sleeper that no one talks about. It's that semiconductor stock that could stay hot here, right? Over the last few weeks after TSM had that big earnings pop, it has done nothing but consolidate. This is very bullish, okay? This is very bullish on TSM. You see this consolidation. Don't forget about this one, right? Look at these lows and look at how it held above. So I would say if TSM is above that 112, very strong. And if it's above this 115, this could be, again, another long opportunity at 115. If TSM breaks and holds over 119, this is ready for its next move, guys. This is ready for its next move. After a breakout on earnings, a nice consolidation, right? Post-earnings, nice consolidation. If you get a break of this range above 119, I think you're ready for your next move. So I would not lose sight of TSM here, right? I know everyone's watching Nvidia AMD, but keep an eye on this boy, right? Don't lose sight of this one. Keep an eye on that 119 TSM, all right? All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. I hope you learned something. I hope you got some kind of watch that you're interested in today. Make sure to, take it easy. It's Monday. On a Monday morning, what I love to say is we're not going to just wake up on a Monday morning and start slamming buttons the second the market opens, okay? Relax, calm down, take a deep breath when the market rings today. Watch what the market wants to do. Give it some time. Give it 10, 15 minutes to digest. You guys have seen there's been fantastic later day moves all week for the last month, right? You do not need to be slamming things the second the market opens on a Monday morning. Let things shake out. Get a feel for the market action. Watch that ES, watch that NQ. Is it looking strong? Is it looking weak? You can't answer those questions unless you give it some time. So give it some time, get a feel for it, start to look for some setups, and make it a good day, all right? Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Help me get to, we might have 1,000 likes. I can't see it. So if we got 1,000 likes, I appreciate it. I don't know why I can't see it anymore. Maybe YouTube doesn't want the creator to see what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just a problem. Oh, actually, I found it. We got 1,200 likes. Nice. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.